is February the 21st, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today evening update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Now to the big story. Embattled Central Bank Governor Dr. Dalal Worrell is warning the Franklin Stewart administration to urgently cut its skyrocketing interest costs, which are tied to a similarly rising fiscal deficit. In his February economic message, Dr. Worrell noted that government's interest costs have been rising continuously in recent years from $396 million in the 2008 to 2009 fiscal year to $673 million in fiscal year 2015-2016. He said the only assured way to reducing interest costs was through the use of monetary policy. The governor said this must be combined with a reduction in spending by government sufficient to balance its ongoing expenditure with taxes and other revenues month by month. Yet another evacuation at Combermere Secondary School with reports of students falling ill this morning and an ambulance being called in. Our Caldwell Moonsey reports from the Waterford institution.
There seems to be no end in sight to the environmental saga at the Combermere Secondary School, which has already resulted in the loss of significant class time last term. This morning, Barbados Today received reports that the bad smell, which has been a constant feature of the environmental wars, returned this morning, forcing students to abandon the classes and congregate on the playing field and assembly hall. This publication arrived on the scene this morning, and an ambulance was seen entering the school premises, and several parents have already arrived at the school to collect their charges. Barbados Today understands that several students have fallen ill, but there has been no word if classes will resume today. We will continue to follow this story and keep you updated as details come to hand. This is Caldwell Moonsey reporting for Barbados Today.
Meanwhile, President of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Mary Redmond, says she's been informed that the environmental issue this morning was a possible gas leak. Redmond said the union is still committed to working towards a resolution of the matter, even as it exercises a great deal of patience in seeing it through to the end. A week before LIAT is scheduled to cut its first route in an effort to make the airline more viable, Minister of Tourism Richard Seeley is serving notice that more routes will become casualties of the regional carriers' restructuring. Likening the struggling airlines fleet to the equally stressed Transport Board bus fleet here, Seeley sympathizes with LIAT's staff and management as they continue to examine what routes are best to shed. He describes the move as a difficult one but necessary for the company if it is to ensure its viability, but could not say what routes are likely to be next.
You still need to be as viable as you possibly can be. It's not going to be a profitable airline. And if you talk to anyone, the most costly part of a flight is the landing and the takeoff. That's all the airplanes do all day long, land and take off. So it's a difficult task, but a necessary one. And we will continue to look to see what routes we have to cut out and what areas we need to enhance.
One of the island's newest political parties is launching a petition against the proposed sale of the Barbados National Terminal Company Limited to the Sol Group of companies. The launch by the Barbados Integrity Movement, or BIM, will take place tomorrow at Divi South Winds Hotel. This petition will coincide with the 2-week period allocated by the Fair Trading Commission for objections to the possible merger against any potential for a monopoly or unfair competition. Police are still on the hunt for wanted man Marlon Omar George, alias Mali, Gungles, and Ranger. The 31-year-old George, whose last known address is number 16 Arden Close, Pinelands, St. Michael, is wanted in connection with serious criminal matters. He has a tattoo of a cross and the date 19th September 85 with the initials beside it on his back. He also has several scars on his face. George is of brown complexion and sports a low haircut. In sport, the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. has designated 2017 the Year of Sport. This comes on the heels of a successful Run Barbados in December. This designation is one of the pillars of the BTMI's comprehensive 3-year sports tourism plan. In keeping with current tourism trends and a growing traveler appetite for adventure and activity, the BTMI has identified key events aimed at capitalizing on available infrastructure and resources to generate additional business for Barbados. The Year of Sports 2017 will feature a blend of established calendar favorites and new carefully crafted events covering interests from water sports to cricket and beach tennis.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's the celebration of agriculture, 50 years and beyond. Come and experience this year's Agrofest exhibition at the historic Queen's Park on February 24th to 26th.
Box offices: Barbados Agricultural Society, Roberts Manufacturing Feed Store, Clear Vision Optical, Massey Stores Barbados Limited, Worthing, Sunset Crest, Oystons, and Sky Mall. Massey Stores Home, Sheraton and Pierhead, Cape Shepherd Broad Street, Waterworld Pet Shop, Jordan's Complex Spikestown, Ticket Centre, Massey Supercentre Warrings. Be there.
Get your paper. Only $2.25. $2.20. Who? For what? That's Bear Stale News. I don't read about that on Barbados today since last night. That can't only can't do. $2.20. Who?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
It's the celebration of agriculture, 50 years and beyond. Come and experience this year's Agrofest exhibition at the historic Queen's Park on February 24th to 26th. Don't miss the African Heritage Month celebrations, the Agrofest Special Edition, an impressive display of leather products made from Barbados' black belly sheep, the best of crop over 2016, and much more. Agrofest 2017. Tickets available at all official box offices.
We're back with news from the region now. The review of the CARICOM single market and economy is slated to be examined in 1 month as regional leaders are still submitting proposals. Royden James reports.
CARICOM member countries have a deadline of March 31 to submit comments on the review of the various regimes of the CARICOM single market and economy, CSME. The review shows the status of implementation for each country of the measures intended to bring the CSME into effect. In an interview with reporters on the heels of the 28 intersessional meetings of Caribbean heads, Foreign Minister Carl Greenidge said there is still confidence in the process.
The Secretariat has presented to the heads their review of where we are with the CSME and what they have tried to identify are those areas where we have endeavored or we've put in place the project, indicated what has been done and what remains to be done.
Minister Greenidge said that Guyana's position on CSME is that a lot more needs to be done. Acknowledging that Guyana has benefited from free movement of goods and people as enshrined by the single market aspect of the CSME, the minister said that it was not as much as the Guyana government would have liked.
In more regional news, police in Jamaica are now using body cameras. However, Superintendent in charge of information, Norris Rooms, says the cameras have some constraints.
We had a pilot project earlier and we had some limitations. So we had some minor fixes. The vendor came down, did some repairs to some of the cameras and did some adjustment to the software, and they had sent us some newer cameras, some newer model cameras to be used. And we have sensitized our officers about some of these limitations. The cameras will not work for the tour of duty, and our tour of duty is 8 hours.
And on the global scene, the Trump administration has issued tough guidelines to widen the net for deporting illegal immigrants from the U.S. and speed up their removal. And now undocumented immigrants arrested for traffic violations or shoplifting will be targeted along with those convicted of more serious crimes. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is planning to roll out a revised executive order on immigration this week.
We will have strong borders again. The Trump administration is preparing to roll out a new travel ban executive order. Sources tell CNN the draft order revises the original botched order, which caused confusion, mass protests, and portions of it were halted by multiple federal courts. The take two of the order, expected later this week, is intended to be a streamlined, tightened-up version, according to administration officials, which sources say will exempt green card holders, take out any preference for certain religious minorities allowed in the country, and attempt to fix the due process concerns of the federal appeals court that blocked the original order by giving detailed notice of restrictions on those people coming from the 7 identified countries with current or pending visas.
We will have a short phase-in period to make sure that people on the other end don't get on airplanes. But if they're on an airplane and inbound, they'll be allowed to enter the country.
The Muslim ban has got to go! Secretary Kelly promising less chaos this time.
And that's news and the sports. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Now also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.